and your life is ready to meet the person you are now. Right? Yeah, we are right. The experiences you have moved through have shown you more about yourself than you can possibly realize. You understand your energy differently now. Your priorities have shifted. Your relationships have taught you what feels supportive, what feels genuine, and where you feel completely free to be yourself. Spirit is bringing all of that forward today, and I am here for it, and I hope you are too. I feel a beautiful return is happening, guys. It feels like our energy is gathering around us again, and that's after it's been spread across like all the responsibilities and the relationships and the expectations and everything that we've been carrying. Our authentic self has remained present through all of it. It's been there in the moments when we felt peaceful about a decision, even though we could not explain it to anyone else if we had to. It's been there when we've laughed like easily and spoke openly. Oh God, who does that? And created something you loved or felt completely at home in your own energy. It's been there. It's been there in, the ideas that continue to return and in the quiet recognition that parts of your life are ready to change. You, me, everyone are meeting ourselves from a new place now, right? Can you feel that? I know I can feel it. We have more experience, a stronger understanding of what matters to us. And most importantly, we are recognizing our intuitive language by becoming more aware of the way our body and our emotions and our thoughts and our energy communicates with us. All of this is bringing you and me and everyone into a deeper relationship with ourselves. And Spirit is telling me that this next chapter, guys, babies, it carries more of our voice, our creativity, and our truth. More of the work that feels meaningful to us, not just what we feel we have to do. So this, my friends, is where you start the relationships where you feel seen as the person you are today, right now. Let the opportunities come. Let the opportunities come to make choices that reflect the life you are building for yourself. Doesn't matter how old you are, where you're at in your life. The person you are becoming has already begun to show themselves, right? They are present every time you choose what generally feels right for you because you are honoring your energy. Present when you trust the way you receive intuitive information, like I am right now, when you share an idea before you polished it into something everyone else will understand. This is where Spirit is focusing. They are cheering you on as you figure out when your words and actions match what you know within yourself. It matters. This is the return Spirit is speaking about today, guys. This is the exciting kind of revelation that I got working with Spirit. It is a return to our own energy, a return to our voice, and a return to the intuitive language that has always belonged to us. Think about coming back to the qualities that make you feel like connected, alive, fully present, like right here, right now. You are building that wisdom, the wisdom of every version of yourself into the person you are now. Right? All the goodness, the sensitive parts, the powerful parts, the playful parts, the intuitive parts. I always forget the playful parts, like always. The intuitive parts come naturally for me. So does the sensitive ones. But these are the parts that we have to learn how to speak. We have to learn how to speak them with confidence. The parts that understand when it is time to stay, when it's time to change, and when something new is ready to begin. I just pulled cards for about this, and it was 2020 vision. beginning of the new earth. So Spirit is bringing you back into a relationship with all of it. And you are ready to take up more room in your own life. I'm just going to say it. I think we all are, and we've waited way too long. You are ready to recognize yourself in the decisions you make, right? The relationships you build and the work you create. And whether you are looking to be a medium, be an intuitive, be an energy practitioner, it doesn't matter. If you just want to be you, you are ready to build the way you connect with spirit in your own intuitive language. Your authentic self is moving forward, and we want it to. Okay? We do. Your life should be beginning to reflect it. So, after all of that, welcome to the Spiritual View. I'm Tara Diana. I am an empowerment medium, and today we are talking about Spirit's message about coming back to your authentic self. It's like my favorite topic right now. Authenticity is the first pillar of everything I teach because it affects every other part of our development. Whether you, again, and I'd like to reiterate this, just doing higher self-work, or whether you're doing higher self-work to move into other parts of the work, we begin with the authentic self. Then we learn to trust the intuitive self. You like that, Brie? From there, we strengthen our trust in spirit and in the process. Then we speak our truth. Each part builds on the one before it. So when I talk about your authentic self, I am talking about the person underneath all the roles that we carry, all those things I mentioned in the beginning. Because we have roles. We are parents and partners and friends, caregivers, business owners, what else are we? Employees, teachers, students, whatever. And the person everybody calls when all hell breaks loose. Tell me you're not. In the comments, tell me you're not the person everyone comes to, right? You absolutely are. I'm just looking at this. Saw you're live at the right moment. Thank you. Perfect message so far. You're here for it, Andrea? Yes, you are, ma'am. Yes, you are. Those roles are real parts of our lives. The ones I just called out. Right? They also come with expectations, right? No lie detected. The dependable person, okay, stay with me here. The dependable person becomes accustomed to handling everything. Okay? The strong person becomes very good at saying I'm fine. Hi guys, thanks for joining. We are in the middle of talking about authenticity and how to work within that, knowing who you are. Stay with me. So the strong person becomes very good at saying, I'm fine. The peacemaker learns how to smooth everything over. Here's the one that nails me every single time. The spiritual person, okay, may feel pressure to understand everyone, forgive everything, and float gracefully above every human emotion. And good luck with that. We are probably, those of us that do this work, more misaligned at times with our humanness than anyone else. I say that with my full chest. We are spiritual beings having a very human experience. The human experience includes getting frustrated and changing our minds, having the boundaries, and occasionally wondering why we answered the phone, because I do that all the time. I knew it was going to be Rogers. My point here is that authenticity gives all those parts of us room to exist because we are spirits having that human experience. It begins with having an honest relationship with yourself, though, guys. I cannot tell you how important that is. That relationship includes recognizing what brings your energy forward, what causes you to pull back. Think for a minute about the people around you who you feel most comfortable with. The conversation flows, you can laugh, you can say whatever you want to say, you can wear silly things, you can, just basically say what you think because you're not monitoring every word or wondering how you're being received because those people get you. They're your vibe. They're your people. Your body feels different in those spaces because you are fully present. You are there. It doesn't matter. You're good. Now, think about the opposite, about the spaces where you become extremely careful. You rehearse your answer before you speak, and you may leave out parts of the story and say what will keep the conversation comfortable for everyone else. Your energy feels different there too, right? Of course it does. Let me know if this is making sense to you guys in the comments, if you can feel this. That awareness teaches us a hell of a lot about where our authentic self feels welcome. And it will also show us, guys, where we may have formed habits that belong to an earlier time in our lives, right? We talk about past lives. Maybe staying quiet once kept the peace, guys, or being endlessly available helped you feel valued. That was a me thing for a long time, not so much anymore. Maybe becoming who somebody else wants you to be gave you a sense of belonging. And those are all real things, babies, and they are all real experiences. And those choices served a purpose at that time. They helped you move through something with the understanding and resources that you had then. What you were taught, what you had, those resources mattered. Now you have more information about yourself for real. You should have learned through every relationship, all the success and disappointments and the decisions that brought you closer to who you are. There should have been some kind of lessons in there. I know I hate saying that. And everything's a lesson. Sadly, it is. So coming back to your authentic self allows that wisdom, that higher part of you, the part of you that knows yourself the best, to become part of your life right now. And that's valid. And that is hella important. And this is why authenticity changes as we grow. And that's why I say we have to stop and just take a moment, right? We have to stop and just take a moment and be like, okay. Thanks, Deb. Hi, Trisha. I hope your legs are feeling better, baby. Thanks, Brianne. So the most authentic version of you at 20 is gonna look hella different from the most authentic version of you at 50. And if you haven't hit it there yet, you get my point. So, and thank the goddess, because some of our 20-year-old decisions do not require a revival tour, let me tell you. Growth gives us a wider understanding of ourselves, and I'm all here for that. We may, become more direct. That is exactly what happened to me. My priorities changed and I became more direct, and I was like, come for me, I'm okay with it. Do I love it? Not necessarily, but I'm okay with it. So you may want greater peace, in the whole deeper relationships, more meaningful work, or that stronger connection with spirit. I highly recommend that. We may discover that our definition of success came from somebody else, and we have had to decide or decided to create our own. And for me, and what spirit gives me, all of that is part of becoming more fully ourselves in our human experience. And I see this in the intuitive and mediumship development all the time. Someone receives information clearly, then they kick it to the wind because it arrived differently from the way another person described their connection. Right? They felt the information, but they were expecting to see it. I love that when people do that. They're like, oh, I've got this. And they're like, but I can't see it. I'm like, what are you looking for? Just give it. They receive, a memory, but they're waiting to hear that name. Do not get me started on that. I'm not here to talk and preach and teach about mediumship. I'm really not, but that always gets me. And the people who know that claircognizance, something instantly, but because, and this is a cool one, hear me out, but because it happened so naturally, we assume that it was made up. It was like, oh, no. Our intuitive language is connected to our authentic self. Period. And no one is teaching this in this way. I can promise you that right now. You receive how you receive. And I will stand by that. That's what makes me a different practitioner than others when I teach this. You receive how you receive. I ain't following rules. Spirit didn't say to me I had to follow rules. And Spirit didn't fail me because I didn't follow rules. The way Spirit communicates through me reflects my language, babies, my experiences, my personality, and that may be a lot for people, and the way my mind understands the information. Your connection will move through you. Whether you are planning to be a medium or an intuitive or whatnot, or you're just trying to work on your higher self. And of course, we can learn all the techniques. We can practice and strengthen our evidence and become clearer translators. But the goal is for those skills to support our natural connection. Are you with me? Are you hearing it? Let me know in the comments if you are feeling what Spirit's putting down. We are developing you, boo. We are not manufacturing a spiritual impersonation of somebody that you watched online. Okay? I don't need to be anyone else. I am enough, and so are you. But I will help you nurture whatever it is that you want to nurture to learn your intuitive language. Because when you understand your authentic self, you become more aware of how information feels within you. Now, think about that if you're just someone who just wants to live their highest and best. If you can interpret what you're receiving and not be second guessing all the time or doubting yourself, you can recognize the difference between your thoughts and an intuitive knowing. You can notice which physical sensations carry meaning for you and which don't. Because remember, not every sign is a message. Let me tell you, not every sign is a sign. I'm going to say that all day, every day. Which brings me to understanding what Spirit uses, the symbols that Spirit used to work with you, because they connect with your life and your frame of reference. Your confidence will always begin to grow because you are finally working with your own language. I didn't come up with intuitive language, but I embrace the intuitive language. That trust then starts showing up beyond your spiritual work. Okay, and that's where I want you guys to lean in. Those of you that aren't even doing spiritual work, this is where I want you to lean in. You recognize what a genuine yes feels like. You recognize when you are agreeing because you truly want to participate, and when you are agreeing because you feel responsible for another person's reaction. That's a big lesson, and it was a huge lesson for me, and I have learned it. You become clearer about where your energy belongs. Again, like, not everyone needs me, and I certainly don't need everyone. Beginning to make decisions that match the person you have become. Because you stopped, you took a breath, and you realigned and reconnected with the wisest part of yourself. And that is where sitting in your power comes into the conversation, right? Everyone's got a different version. I have sat through so many mediums with their versions of sitting in the power, and I'm not going to say any are right or wrong. My version is being able to remain connected to yourself while allowing another person to have their own perspective, including Spirit. You can listen to somebody else without handing them your decision. You can get a perspective. You can get an opinion even without letting them make the decision for you. You got free will choice, babies. You can make that decision. You can consider the feedback without turning it into a final judgment of your worth. And I want to say something here, and I'm going to say this loudly for those in the back. Sometimes what you perceive isn't what happened. Can I just say that? But don't sink your whole personality into it, because you may be missing something that's really, really valid. Right? And here's another thing, guys. You can care about another person's feelings and still remain honest about your own. I agree to disagree is a real thing. That's a full sentence. Because that kind of self-trust gives relationships room to become more genuine. And that is something we need, amen, all day, every day. People get to know the real you. They hear your actual opinion. They understand what works for you. You are being heard. Your words, that doesn't happen a lot. We talk and someone is nodding and they haven't heard a word you said. Right? They have the opportunity to meet you in a relationship where both people are present. Yay! That's a thing. That's lovely. And for me, I feel like when I'm working with Spirit and talking about this, being present together is far healthier than quietly agreeing with everything and eventually just becoming resentful because nobody realized you were unhappy, because you couldn't speak your truth, because you didn't trust the process and you weren't sitting in your power and you didn't know who you were. Amen. Using our voice gives the people around us an opportunity to understand us. So before you tootle off to do mediumship or intuitive work, get aligned with you, because you're going to want people to respond and give us information about the relationship that we're creating with them. Their response matters. And you know what? When you find yourself, some people will adjust beautifully and others just have to go. And that is okay too. They may be surprised because the relationship changed or the dynamic or whatever, but they will listen, they will ask questions and learn how to meet you differently if they want to. Because sometimes these people, they just prefer the version of who you were before because that made life easier for them. And that response is information too when you think about it. So, authenticity allows us to pay attention without turning every disagreement into a spiritual showdown. I ain't fighting with anyone, babies. I know what I can do, and I know that I do it well. I do it differently. And I love the mediums and the intuitives and the everyday person who come with the confidence, who aren't here to do this. Because this is also where accountability matters. Let's just have a sweet moment with that. Our authentic self is not a free pass for every reaction. Okay? This is just who I am has been used to excuse some of the most silly bullshit I've ever seen. Oh, that's just who I am. Ooh. If that's just who you are, we have a problem. Authenticity includes taking responsibility for our words, choices, and impact. We can be direct and still care about how we communicate. We also will not take other people's perspectives, and if they didn't like something, and make it apologize for something that wasn't intended. Don't do that either, because that's not it either. We can speak our truth and remain open to learning. And I'm all about, guys, setting a clear boundary and following through without turning it into some kind of like punishment. Because that's not it either. We can acknowledge that we handled something poorly and still remain connected to the truth underneath it. That's a me thing. That's a me thing. I'm a Scorpio. You guys know, if you know, you know. That is what makes authenticity, though, a practice instead of a performance. And you know what? We should be curious about ourselves, right? We should literally recognize where we have changed and where an old pattern still be making decisions for us, because that's a thing. Stacy, they are basically saying, I'm not owning it, and and it went away. Let me see if I can find that. There it is. They are basically saying, I'm not owning it, and that's not going to change. Yeah, and that's a problem. And you know, I'm really thinking about this perspective thing a lot in the last couple days, probably the last week or so. And I'm like, you know what? People are so quick to react. It shows me who you are when you do that. If you can't sit back and have that conversation and be like, this is what it made me feel, so the other person can be like, oh, well, that's not what was intended. That's a thing, right? And I think we fall into reaction very quickly. Not all day, every day, but very quickly. Okay? So what's one of the easiest ways to see this? Okay, one of the easiest ways to see this is to pay attention to the difference between peace and relief. Yeah. Peace often comes like when a choice reflects who we are and what we value. We feel peaceful. Peace. I never use the word peace, but it's what comes from spirit, right? Peace often comes. Okay, relief will come when we avoid like that nasty conversation that we've been like trying not to have, or make the decision that, you know, doesn't value us. It keeps everybody else happy. It's a relief to do it because now you don't have to fight the good fight, right? Because that takes up too much time. And relief only feels wonderful for like 15 minutes, babies. And then that old feeling, that original feeling returns, because the truth is sitting there waiting for our attention, and we are trying to have relief. So, and that's where people will begin calling themselves confused. I'm confused, I'm lost. There are general moments of confusion, guys, don't get me wrong. General moments of confusion. Life is complex. Every answer is not immediately available to us, not even if you ask spirit. Not even if you trust your intuitive self. Sometimes we have to work through things. But there are also moments when we understand exactly what we feel, but we are uncertain about the outcome. Fair. For real. We may be like all clear about what we want while having like no idea how another person will respond. That can be scary as hell, right? Knowing which direction feels right and still like freaking out about if it's all going to work out. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Is it going to be okay? Is it going to be okay? It's going to. And that is where trusting the process becomes important. Because trusting the process is our willingness to move with the information available today. Also means when working with spirit, trusting what that information is from spirit that they're giving you today. So think of it as a relationship between intuitive guidance and practical participation. Let's do this. Let's live both. Because spirit may bring your attention to a new opportunity and you still decide whether you explore it or not. Right? That spirit can highlight like, hey, did you pay attention to this conversation? And you choose when and how to begin the conversation or how you receive the conversation. That's yours. Spirit can show you anything. Your work is expanding and you bring the idea into fruition. Our participation turns spiritual guidance into lived experience. You with me on that? Put it in the comments if you get that one. Our participation, babies, turns spiritual guidance into lived experience. And I am here for that. We build trust through that participation. And each time you honor something you know, you gather evidence that you can rely on you. That you can rely on you in your humanist form. You follow through on a commitment you made to yourself. You allow your first intuitive impression to stand before analyzing it. You share the idea. You share the thought. You ask the questions. You communicate the boundary. The boundary. Boundaries matter. Can I say that? Of course I can, because they do. Make room for the work. I don't care if it's a relationship or an experience that reflects who are you becoming. Make room for it. Because those choices are strengthening your relationship with you, right? They also bring your inner and outer worlds closer together. Woo! That is the transformation. I don't know why, Stacy, that made me think of you when I went, woo! No idea why. That is the transformation, though, that's at the center of what Spirit and I channel today. Coming back to your authentic self, babies, is allowing the person you have become to have a voice in the life you are living now. Like right now. It means your expansion, your growth, whatever you want to call it, your development becomes visible in your choices. And your values, which I don't think we talk enough to ourselves about, become visible in the way you spend your time. Love that one. That one resonates wholeheartedly. Your intuitive connection is going to become visible in the trust you place in your own language. And that is just bar none. That is just fact, plain and simple. Your truth becomes visible in the relationships you make with everyone, including spirit. Your power becomes visible in the way you remain connected to you. So, this message is not about having every part of your life like all perfectly aligned in the stars and the moons and the galaxies and the planets by tomorrow, babies. That's not it. That sounds exhausting, truthfully. And most of us have to do laundry. It's about recognizing where more of you is ready to be present. Just think of like one area, one relationship, one decision, one idea you're ready to take seriously. That is going to be enough to begin changing the way you experience your life. Okay? So, I am going to move over to Empowering Intuitive Souls to the group. I'm going to do a collective reading to close this, and then I'm going to pull some cards for people. I would love to get some feedback when I'm over there, questions, anything. I'm going to do about a half an hour over there, so I got to get my little Beninsky and Spirit and I over there so I can do that. Thank you for joining the Spiritual View. As always, I love these conversations. I love connecting to Spirit for everyone. I just feel like this is the right time for this conversation, right? So the message Spirit is giving is your desire carries information. What you want tells you something about the direction your energy is moving. And it can lead to a practical change, or it may simply bring more honesty into the way you understand yourself. Either way, it matters. And I feel the words will become simpler than you've ever expected. So I will leave you with those loving words from Spirit. And I'm excited to see who's going to pop over there and what Spirit has to show you about your changes, your transformations. I'm here for that. Okay, babies, thank you so much. Stay tuned for more spiritual views as I get more aligned into this kind of work now. We have finished the other stuff. I've got some exciting things coming up. I love you all, and I will see you in Empowering Intuitive Souls. Have a great night, baby. Stay divine.